This time on Low Boost, we make some progress on our 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck. Been keeping up with this or you're new to the channel, my dad and I have been restoring a 1953 Ford F100 pickup truck. All the parts are off of it. We actually got the engine in it running and driving and moving around under its own power, but we're really not the best body people and we want the truck to look really nice when it's done. So we brought it down to LAL CUSTOMZ in Nassau, New York, who specializes in Bronco restoration and full custom builds there. They're going to actually do all the paint work and some of the suspension upgrades for us before we actually get done finishing this whole thing. So we are really excited to really see the truck totally come together. But before it comes together, it actually has to come all apart. So the first thing that Lou did when he got all the body panels was he threw a thick layer of sealer primer on all of it and really start working on each panel to see how much body work each panel is going to need to make it look as pretty as possible. He saw some imperfections in some were too rusted out to be reused, but then he put the whole thing back together to really see what it looks like. And it's kind of interesting to see the whole truck come together here. It looks really cool. I love this body style. The downside is that engine and everything else as you see it here will have to come out, but they do such a great job and put a lot of time and effort into smoothing out these body panels, as you can see. And we had to replace the rear fender here because this had a spare tire at one point and we're getting rid of that. What you see here is a Backyard CUSTOMZ Ford Crown Victoria F100 front end swap kit. This will allow us to put a Crown Vic front end on it with power steering, disc brakes, sway bars, and coilover suspension to really update the handling characteristics of the truck. Also adding rack and pinion steering and bringing the front end of this truck into the 21st century.
Drop those in it and then burn it in solid.
Okay.
On each side. And then that Crown Vic front end will legitimately bolt in there like it should from the factory.
Okay.
It'd be like a factory add-on piece.
Boom. Man, the more I look at this truck, the more I'm falling in love with it. I love to have some big fat tires on the back of this thing. And now that we have to take the whole thing apart, now it comes down to the decision of what are we going to do with the straight six that's in this. Now is the best time to swap a V8 engine in there and so we can have something loud, rowdy, great for burnouts. It sucks because this 6-cylinder is in great shape. We got it running really good. But I think now might be the time to make a little bit of an upgrade for some more power. Now with the 6-cylinder taken out, Luke can get started on that Backyard CUSTOMZ front end swap kit and really see the front end of this truck come together.
So we installed the Backyard CUSTOMZ Crown Vic swap kit into the 53 Ford here, whole blue. I had to cut the frame and notch it, make the mounts back here. And now we'll add the sway bar. We'll be ready to go. So after we get this all, now that it's all been mocked up, I'll take it all back apart. I'll weld it all in. And when I do that, we'll blow apart this front end. We'll clean up all the parts. We'll paint what needs to be painted and replace the brakes, rotors, calipers, make it nice.
Now you can see it's just tack welded here, but this is a huge upgrade for the F100. They made a ton of Ford Crown Victorias and you can get front ends out of them for, you know, you can find them anywhere. This was just a couple $100, but now we got a rack and pinion. This swap kit really does the tricks. You know, sway bars in the front of this thing with disc brakes. You know, paint them all nice and make them look all pretty. This thing is really going to be awesome. We also think that this might have been a service truck in its previous life. It has holes in the roof, which means there was a light bar there. So that's pretty interesting as well. Next up, we got to take the cab off and sandblast the snot out of it. Now the cab needs a nice thick coat of sealer primer to see where the rest of the imperfection is in the body, and then sanding, blocking, and getting it perfect and ready for paint. Long story short, Lou had a 351 Windsor that has some work done to it lying around at his shop, and looks like my dad bought it. We're gonna throw this puppy in the truck. It's got some E Street heads on it. We have no idea what's in it, but it was pulled from a previous build to put a different engine in it, and this is the motor that we're going to put in the truck. My dad also picked up a C4 transmission that he got, found it on Facebook Marketplace, and it also came with an engine stand and another engine on it that is pretty shot, but we're going to take a look at that engine and see if we can use it for another project, because it was basically free. We just needed the transmission. Now that the engine and transmission and front end is back in the F100, now we just got to see if everything will fit together. It looks really, really cool right now, and we just got to keep plugging along with the bodywork. Lou's doing a fantastic job. Check out his Facebook page, LAL Customs, or check him out on Instagram at LAL Customs. Tons and tons of great builds. A lot of cool Ford Broncos. So the 351 Cleveland that my dad got basically is a bargain just to buy the transmission. It was basically free to us because it came with an engine stand and transmission. All we cared about was the transmission, but we got a free motor out of it. So let's actually see what it looks like underneath. There's definitely no oil in it, you're right. Let's see why it's not turning over. If you haven't seen it already, we picked up a 66 Mustang to throw this engine in a separate build series. So make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube, because we have tons and tons of content for you guys around all things cars. In the next episode, I'm going to have to tear down this 351, but at some point, we are going to throw it in this Mustang, and it's going to be another great driver for us. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.